Alright, so today we're going to be talking about entering your personal information and adding programs in PharmCAS. These are usually the first steps that you'll be performing whenever you start your PharmCAS application. So whenever you log back into PharmCAS, you're going to, first of all, select the programs to which you wish to apply. So you can do that on adding programs. Whenever you enter your information, you may be prompted automatically to begin adding programs. So let's go through an example here. Whenever you apply, you will actually see a lot of other programs that are available, and you can filter these by the schools to which you wish to apply, the accreditation status, the state. You can click on available programs or limit those to future programs, although for your purposes, you're probably just going to be selecting available programs. Now, in the sample today, we just have a few schools listed, but whenever you apply, you will see many more listed. So in this case, I have selected Mercer University as one of the programs to which I wish to apply. I'd like to add Southern Illinois University Edwardsville as well. You simply do that by clicking on the plus button, and now you've added that. If I have decided that I'd no longer like to apply to Mercer University, I can click on the undo and I can remove it. Now you must select at least one program on this page. Whenever you get ready to add programs, and if you are interested in applying to an early decision program, early decision requires that you apply to only one program. You're limited to one program only. So you will only be able to choose one program that participates in the early decision if you choose to do so. Now you can switch between early decision and traditional application processes if you decide to do so. But for this attempt, we are selecting SIU Edwardsville. We will go back to my application, and now we're going to start by entering in some personal information. This is the first quadrant. So whenever you click on one of these sections, you're going to see step by step the subsections of the personal information. So the first one is the release statement. So whenever you look at the release statement, you're going to go through each of these and read them carefully and decide if you want to release the information. So for example, on this one, I want the information that I am submitting to be released to schools before I actually finalize my application process so that they can contact me with any additional information. So I'm just going to select yes with this radio button. Advisor release, this is going to provide information to your advisors in the future to help you in the admissions process and also help future students. So I'm going to select yes on the advisor release. And then PharmCAS release. Definitely make sure to review this information. It goes through things such as we are looking at plagiarism. PharmCAS looks at plagiarism in terms of your application, so they are indicating that they use something similar to Turnitin to detect any kind of plagiarism. Also, other details and legal codes in this information, and then you just simply confirm that you have read this and that you agree to it. And then this is just information about professional pharmacy programs, and you can read information such as the code of ethics for a pharmacist on this page as well, basically stating that you agree to these. If you do go back and remove this, you may have to re-highlight those radio buttons, the responsible conduct of research. So as you read through this information, it's going to tell you the terms and penalties if you violate these policies. So make sure to read that thoroughly. After you have selected all of those radio buttons, click on Save and Continue. You'll see a pop-up window that indicates that you have saved that section and that you may proceed. So let's go back to our dashboard. This is going to show you again with that green little line here that you have one of the 7 sections complete in personal information. Now you can skip around to these other sections, but today we're just focusing on the personal information. The biographic information. This is just what it is. It's the name that you have created in your profile. And in your profile section, let's see, so we don't want to save things, or you could save them if you entered more information, but let's say, for example, you just want to look at your profile section. This is going to go back through, and you can actually update information in your profile section. For example, your name change, if your phone number changes, or if your email changes, you can update that information. That's actually where you would change it rather than in this biographic section. You're not able to change it on this page. If you have any other names that you went by, such as a nickname or a maiden name, you can indicate that information here. If you indicate no, it's going to close that drop-down menu. And then you can indicate your gender or decline to state your gender in this section. And then you're going to enter in your birth date on this page, and you can actually click through the information and find the appropriate month and appropriate year of your birth date. I'm going to say July 19th, 1981, and then you will be selecting the country and the city in which you were born. So I'm going to select Nashville in Illinois, and what this does is it's going to provide a drop down for the county, and then you'll select the county in which you were born. Pretty simple. You save it, you continue it, and then you'll indicate that you want to continue to the next section. Current address, this is where you will enter in your current address. And this is where any correspondence that schools might need to send you would come to you. So we're going to do Edwardsville, and you may have a computer that automatically populates some of this information for you. Just confirm that it's correct before you move on. You will also select the county. So we're going to select Madison and enter in your zip code. And then you can indicate the dates through which your current address is valid. So for example, if you're graduating and moving on, or you plan to move to another location, you can indicate that. And then you can indicate whether it's your permanent address or temporary address. If you indicate temporary, you do have the option of indicating your permanent address in the drop-down menu. Next, you will be able to put in your phone number on this section. You can indicate that in your profile section, which I already did, so this area is grayed out. And again, your email address that you indicated in your profile section is also indicated here. Since everything is complete, you can save and continue to the next section. So under your citizenship status, you can select each of these. Depending upon which one you pick, you might have different options available for you. So if you select U.S. citizen, you'll have this. If you select temporary U.S. resident, you'll be able to select the country of residence, and permanent U.S. resident, you'll be able to do that as well. If you have dual citizenship, you'll be able to select your country here as well, and then your legal state of residency. So wherever you have legal residence, and then the county, again, you'll indicate this information here, and then how long you have lived at this particular location. If you have a U.S. visa, for example, and you had indicated up here that you were a temporary U.S. resident, you would be able to change this to yes and indicate your visa information. You can indicate a previous state of residency if you have lived in your permanent state for less than 1 year, and you could select what your previous state was. Again, saving, continuing to the next section. And let's just go back. We can see on our gauge right here, we've got 4 of the 7 sections complete. You can add parent or guardian in this section if you would like. However, once you submit it, you cannot change or edit this. So consider whether or not you want to add parent on this page or not. You can choose not to add parent or guardian information. It's completed up to section 5. So then we can see down here with a check mark which sections that we have completed. The next section is race or ethnicity. These are optional sections. If you select that you are Hispanic or Latino origin, you'll be able to select one or more of these sections in the drop-down menu. And then under race, again, same kinds of options. If you select one of the races that's listed, you will have the option of selecting multiple. And then once that is complete, you can save and continue. Again, this section is optional. And then finally, on this page, you do need to select your native language. This is required, so you would select whatever is your native language. You can choose to add other languages if you choose to do so, if you have some proficiency level, and you'll be able to indicate what that is. And if you choose not to, of course, you can delete that section. Military status, and this is optional as well. You can select this as appropriate. And again, if you have ever been convicted of a felony, you will select yes, and then you will need to indicate an explanation in this box. You're limited to 500 characters. Same thing with a misdemeanor, And definitely you have to disclose this information. That's part of your academic and professional record whenever you apply through PharmCAS. If you've had any license infractions, again, you'll have an opportunity to explain those if so. And again, these are things that can be verified, so you must be honest. And if you have ever attended, and I believe whenever you apply, this will actually say pharmacy program, and if so, you would indicate whether you have, what kind of program. I believe you'll just have the pharmacy option on here as well. If you select no, you can move on to the next section. Now this background information, the guidelines link down here is actually pretty helpful, and I definitely recommend that you check that out for an explanation for why this is used. So you will be able to indicate any of these boxes. For example, I'm a high school dropout who received a high school diploma or GED, or first generation student, whichever these are applicable. And then these are the instructions to determine if you come from an economically disadvantaged background. And then again, you have an option here of selecting whether or not you meet those criteria to fall under the economically disadvantaged area. And one thing that is required on this page is that you need to select the geographic area where you were raised. So think about your childhood home, where it was, and what the population was like, and you can indicate that. If there are any life circumstances, either cultural or otherwise, make sure to indicate those, such as something about overcoming adversity or cultural background, anything that can be helpful here, and you are limited to 2,000 characters in this section. And then your enrollment plans, if you plan on taking any courses in the fall, and you can indicate yes or no in this section, and again in spring, yes or no, and then later on you'll be prompted to enter which courses that you plan on taking. And then if you have had any kind of issues, such as your grade was lowered due to a penalty, you had a failing grade, disqualification, suspension, probation, dismissal, plagiarism, anything like that that could show up in your academic record, or for which you have received any type of action for. If so, you can click on yes, and then you can indicate the description of what happened, what charges were made, what the consequences were, and then a reflection on maybe what you've learned or how you've grown as a result of this. And you're limited to 600 characters here. If you don't have any academic or professional infractions, you simply click no, and you do not have to indicate anything in this box. So when you save and continue this, we'll go back to the dashboard, and you will see that your personal information has been complete. The next section we'll be talking about is academic history.